Alright, today we got Quorum Maduro. You can get these for like $1.50 to a couple bucks a stick. This one's 50 by 4 3/4 Robusto. They have in Maduro. Which is this. It's made by JC Newman. What's made for JC Newman in a Toraño factory in Nicaragua with a grown Ecuador wrapper. Everything else is Nicaraguan, so it's puro. All Nicaraguan binder filler. Aesthetically looks really nice, has a cool name. The band looks good. It's put on perfectly, as you can see. These are super easy to find all over the US, at least. So at least East Coast for the most part, I've seen them everywhere. And they're dirt cheap. And this I got particularly in ABC Liquors, which is great. But this one's supposed to have, it's supposed to be medium body. This is why I'm going to give you my take on it. I'm just telling you guys right now what it's advertised, because I've read 3 different things from 3 different sellers, not even people writing a blog or reviews, and they all differ. Some say it's medium, some say it's full, some say it's medium to full, some say it tastes like this, some say it tastes like that. The usual, as you guys know. So I'm going to give you guys my opinion. So right here, for example, this is a good one. It says it tastes like, it is super smooth, distinguished medium body taste, ample notes of dark chocolate, spice, espresso, black cherry, and leather. So we'll see about that. I punched it. As I was lighting it, it smelled great. It does smell chocolatey as you light it. I'm getting spice instantly. Definitely has spice. It is pepper. It has pepper. It's not overbearing pepper. It is very smooth. That is true. The wrapper is really nice. The colors are very uniform, but in a natural looking way. It doesn't look like it was painted or something. It's got regular double cap. It's put on perfectly. Double cap's put on absolutely perfectly. The band is put on perfectly, as you can see. There's no tears or holes or anything. There's no giant, like tears on the wrapper. Pretty nice. It looks very, very well made. Burn line is very good. So far, so good. It's not bad at all. Getting a good amount of smoke. It's extremely smooth. The draw is like perfect mid-range. It's not loose or tight. Incredibly smooth. That was very true. They did not exaggerate. The peppers died off a little bit. I am getting the spice, of course, black pepper. But it's more of a flavor, less of a sensation. There's no tingling, there's not a lot of bitterness. Maybe a tiny bit of bitterness, but that's because I'm getting a tiny bit of dark chocolate. Unsweetened, like if you guys have had raw cacao powder, or just raw cacao. Just like the cacao fruit in its pure form without any sugar, just like the actual fruit ground up and turned into powder. There's like the essence of dark chocolate with 0 sugar and without a lot of the bitterness. So it does have that. It does have it, coupled with the spice and a little bit of black pepper, but it's not annoying. It's not, the pepper is not overbearing. It was it is. It's smoking pretty fast. It's only been like 5 minutes. But so far so good, can't complain. I think I see where they said black cherry. I can see it. Weirdly enough, I can't see it. And I don't think I've ever tasted black cherry in anything else. Or maybe if I picked up on it, I couldn't distinguish it. But here it says black cherry, and there was a flavor kind of like floating around that I couldn't put a name to it. But I see it as that now. It is very distinct. It's not, I was here thinking that it was going to be we all have our presuppositions. So I was gonna say, you know, it's gonna be a little spicy. It's gonna be a bit strong. It's gonna have a lot of pepper, maybe some coffee, whatever. But it does have a couple notes that are like outliers. I'm not really too familiar with. The black cherries. That's probably the best thing to call it, I would say. Leather. Yeah, I'm getting some leather. The espresso, you see, I don't know about that. Because there are some cigars where it has espresso. That is not even debatable. I'm not getting that here. But I am getting the dark chocolate, unsweetened, the black cherry. It's like this weird note that's in there. It's pretty good. It's tying everything together. The peppers died down, thank God, because I do not like pepper. And so definitely, if you guys don't like pepper, probably stay away from it. But if you don't care, you just want some tobacco, you know, for a couple bucks. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being if you don't pay attention, you won't even notice the pepper. 10 being if you do not like pepper, you cannot smoke the cigar. This is roughly a 6. Because you'll definitely notice it. And it's probably split down the middle. If you don't like pepper, and you just take 100 people, 50 of them will say, I'm not even going to smoke it. 50 will say, for the price, I'll tolerate it. It just depends if how important the price is to you. If that's what you're using to judge the rest of the cigar, then I personally would fall into the ones that wouldn't care about the pepper. Even though I don't like the pepper, it's not strong enough and the price is so low. And it's such a small cigar that, as you guys can see, is smoking very fast. The pepper really doesn't bother. If anything, in lieu of the sweetness, you could get in other cigars. The bitterness is a good change. The pepper is good with the bitterness of the dark chocolate. And there's a tiny bit of leather floating around in the back. And just that black cherry, which is just like this weird note that's in the back, and you keep reevaluating it in your mind, like, what is that? But it's definitely, I can't really compare this to anything. But definitely enjoyable. Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what matters the most, is the stick enjoyable. And so far, for me, it is. Solid medium body from beginning to now. I don't know where they got the medium to full. I don't know where they got the full. It's nowhere near full, at least to me. Nicotine strength, I don't know. So far, nothing. So far, very decent cigar. I've had much more expensive cigars that at this point, not even at the first third, I already knew that I was not going to finish them. And I'm actually curious to see what happens to this. So far, so good. Kind of wish I had bought a few more just to have them in my box and forget about them. You say, to steal a phrase from fragrance, I guess you could call it like the dry down, just what you get from the buildup in your palate. The black cherry flavor builds up. Now I can definitely, it's just getting stronger and stronger that it is black cherry. And that is really cool. I really like that. And it's very noticeable. They hit the nail on the head. It is black cherry. And it's getting stronger on the palate. And I like it a lot. That is very cool. The burn line is pretty damn good. The draw is still excellent. Not tight, not loose. Perfect middle ground. Real nice burn line. Color of the ash, some people care. I don't. Whether it's uniform or not, I don't see it as holding any utility in the experience of it being a good cigar or not. I've had cigars that are 20 different shades of gray, and they'll all be the same similar shade, or it'll be broken up, and I think it's just an aesthetic feature for me. I've never noticed the difference. But definitely enjoyable. And the heat itself is the temperature of the smoke itself, which is something to consider because some people don't like it. That is something to consider. If it's hot smoke or if it's cold, if it's room temperature, this is like a perfect room temperature. It's certainly not cold, which I assume, and I've seen that most people prefer like a cold smoke. It's something used, it's lauded and it's looked for because they'll put it in descriptions. And but it's definitely not cold, but it's also definitely not hot. It's just kind of just the status quo, copacetic, just room temperature, the norm. Not cold, not hot, because cold, the hot would be, when it comes to cigars, that the hot smoke would be annoying. I mean, naturally, it just, but it's definitely not there. And then you'll see that some cigars at towards the end, and at what point towards the end they get hot, because it is gonna get hot naturally as the the flame is closer to you. But so far it's not hot at all. So then I'll let you guys know at what point does it start getting unbearably hot. But the buildup so far is pleasant. And again, to note, it's burning very quickly. That's fine. If anything, if it burns even faster, it's even better, because do you want it to last you 2 hours, or maybe sometimes you just want a stick? That's going to be a solid 30-45 minutes of just some good tobacco. Decent amount of smoke. It's nice and thick. Definitely a good amount of smoke. I really don't like it when it's just this airy, bodiless, translucent, just barely tangible cloud of smoke. I think that's very, very disappointing. I like it when it's thick, when the smoke has a bit of body and depth. And it's not just this wispy like mist that just is instantly gone. The smoke definitely has some body to it. It's definitely nice and thick, and it's a bit cloy on the palate, kind of like oil. Because at the end of the day, all the tips and all the tricks and what people tell you and you ask questions, the whole point in researching cigars is to try different things, and we all have our own little proclivities that we like, little idiosyncrasies that we have, our own taste, aesthetics that we prefer, things that we prefer when it comes to smoking the cigar itself, the experience. But that's why you experiment with new things, you ask questions, and that way you make it as enjoyable as possible for yourself, keeping in mind that it's your own personal experience. Because the cigar should be enjoyable whether you smoke it by yourself, or you smoke it with friends, or with a stranger that you just met, or in any setting. If I'm talking like this and going on tangents, it's because it's a damn good cigar, man. I just gotta go right out there and say it. I mean, it's hit all the nails on the head. It's hit all the marks. It has the band, not in any particular order. The band is put on perfectly. It hasn't canoed. Just lit it once. The burn line is great. The draw is great. The smoke is still definitely room temperature. I'm still getting the consistent flavors. It's still medium body, very consistent from beginning to now. The only difference is at the beginning I got a small little burst of black pepper. If you had black cherry ice cream or sorbet or something, it's real nice. It's definitely not common. I don't think I've experienced it before in anything else. Definitely past the first third, getting into the second third, and so far it's been around 20 minutes. That buck or two is already whatever it was worth. Even if I threw it away, tossed it away, I'd be perfectly happy. That's a solid, at least 20 minutes of damn good cigar. Just good tobacco with its own little like unique flavors and its own unique little properties, and it's doing what it's supposed to. It's smoking perfectly. It's smooth. It's enjoyable. The cigar should give you, when it comes to the quality instead of the preference and the subjectiveness, is objectively the things we are clear, they're black and white, is the cigar should be as little fuss as possible. The whole point is to enjoy it. So if you're having to touch it up and fix the burn line and relight it again and again and again, and take all these weird draws and take a long one then a short one and do all these weird things just to get it to do what it's supposed to do right in the first place, then that kind of sucks. So with that in mind, this has not been that at all. It's hit all the marks. Last third, and it's starting to get there. What I mean is it's starting to become a bit much. So far the first 2/3 were great. I just kept thinking, my recurring thought was just, this is great, enjoyable, like it a lot, not a single thing to detract from that. Just very good, very enjoyable. Now I'm basically at the threshold of the last third, so basically just got to the last third. Overall, I'm very happy with the cigar, very satisfied, especially for the price. Alright, I'll end it here. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any requests. Thank you.